Being a superstar on one side of the court is noteworthy. However, it is extremely rare for it to be the defensive side. Ben Wallace rose from humble career beginnings to become the spine of a great team. So join me today as I go through his entire career in the basketball experiment. Ben Wallace went undrafted in 1996. In early October, he would sign with the Washington Bullets. He would spend his rookie season buried on the bench, receiving minimal playing time. In 1998, Wallace officially reached role player status, playing nearly 17 minutes a game for the newly named Wizards. In the lockout year, Wallace, now playing nearly 27 minutes a game, flashed starter-level production, grabbing 8 rebounds and averaging 3.1 stocks. In the offseason, Wallace was traded to the Orlando Magic, where they started him but still gave him role player minutes. In late summer 2000, the Detroit Pistons traded superstar Grant Hill to the Magic. Wallace was part of the trade, so he would now be suiting up for the Pistons. They gave him the full reins, playing him 34 minutes a game. He was competent, but didn't show anything special, as the Pistons started the rebuilding process, only winning 32 games. The league was not prepared for Wallace's jump in 2002. It seemed every potential or upside he showed had evolved overnight. He was the best defensive player in the league, and despite only averaging 7.6 points per game, he was at a bona fide All-NBA level. His incredible turnaround also helped the Pistons turn around as well, winning 50 games and getting back to the playoffs. We will take a look at the 2002 season for Ben Wallace, this amazing standout year. First, the basic stats: 7.6 points per game, league-leading 13 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and a magnificent 5.2 stocks per game, including the league-leading 3.5 blocks per game. Shooting 53% from the field. Obviously, not a lot of shot attempts. Mentioned the free throws at 42%. What can we say? That does end up being, unfortunately, Wallace's career. But to balance it out with positive, less than a turnover per game, 0.9. Just incredible. The advanced stats: PER at 18.6, total win shares 11.6, win shares per 48.19, BPM at 4.4, and the VORP at 4.8. All of these advanced stats end up being career highs for Wallace, so in my opinion, this is his best regular season of his career. Another thing of note, he leads the league in defensive win shares at 7.2 and defensive box score plus minus at 3.3. The experts do say that it's difficult to measure defensive statistics, but I feel we can still infer that leading the league in these two specific defensive metrics and statistics is enough to say he is by far the best defensive player in the league and playing at an All-NBA level. It would be Wallace's first postseason. The Pistons blew a 2-0 lead over the Raptors. In Game 5, Wallace struggled, committing 5 turnovers, but added 17 rebounds as the Pistons held on for the win and advanced to the semis. The Pistons won Game 1 against the Celtics, but proceeded to lose 4 straight, ending their season. Despite only playing 10 games in the playoffs, Wallace tied for the lead in defensive win shares. In 2003, Wallace was not at quite the level he was a year prior, but there was still no one on his level defensively. In round 1 of the playoffs, the Pistons were on the brink of elimination, heading into Game 5 versus the Magic. Wallace had 14 points, 21 rebounds, 7 stocks, and no turnovers as the Pistons crushed the Magic to stay alive. Another comfortable win happened in Game 6 for Detroit, aided by a 20-point, 17-rebound, and 9 stocks game from Wallace. The Pistons completed the unlikely comeback, winning by 15 points in Game 7. The Pistons would go on to eliminate the Sixers in Game 6 of the semis, anchored by Wallace's defensive prowess, 18 rebounds, and 8 stocks. The Pistons were in the conference finals for the first time in 12 years. Their opponent, the reigning conference champions, the New Jersey Nets. In the series, Wallace would average 17.3 rebounds and 5.3 stocks. But the magical run vanished. The Pistons were swept. Still, an incredible All-NBA first-team level performance in the run from Wallace. The Pistons would build on their Final Four run, winning 54 games in 2004. Wallace was still at his dominant defensive level. In the playoffs, the Pistons lost a heartbreaker in Game 5 in the semis, falling down 3-2 to the Nets. But they won Game 6 to force Game 7. In that game, the Pistons regrouped and used a dominant third quarter to win the game and the series. A standout offensive night for Wallace, 18 points on 8 of 10 shooting. Back in the conference finals, this time against the Pacers. The Pistons obtained the 3-2 series edge. And in Game 6, Wallace struggled from the field, but provided 16 rebounds to help the Pistons secure the Eastern Conference and advance to the finals. We all know the story. The Pistons were the underdogs. But after a 20-point win in Game 3 to take the 2-1 lead, the Lakers' supremacy was in doubt. In Game 5, with the series lead now at 3-1 for Detroit, Wallace put up a special performance. 18 points, 22 rebounds, 4 stocks, and no turnovers, as the Pistons won the championship. And we will take a look at the 2004 championship run for Ben Wallace. First, the basic stats. Does reach a double-double with 10.3 points and 14.3 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 4.3 stocks. Advanced numbers, PER of 18.6, win shares per 48 of 0.186, and the BPM at 5.3. Also worth pointing out, he led the playoffs in defensive win shares with 2.8. A championship run for Ben Wallace and the Pistons, and I would say he's on the borderline of an All-NBA level. The offense will negate his numbers and performance, but his defensive presence and effectiveness on the team is able to keep him at a high level, even in a championship run. In 2005, Wallace was still on the All-NBA team, but his performance was at an all-star level. The Pistons, trying to defend their championship, held on for the Game 7 win versus the Heat for a return trip to the finals. It was a tough, sluggish, defensive-minded series versus the Spurs. Wallace averaged a double-double and 4.7 stocks, but the Pistons could not get the repeat bid, losing Game 7. And now we'll take a look at the 2005 finals run for Ben Wallace and compare it to last year's championship run. First, the basic stats. The points are virtually the same, 10 a game. The rebounds go down by 3 from 14.3 to 11.3. The assist drops nearly 1.9 down to 1. And the stocks stay virtually the same, 4.3 to 4.1. The shooting does increase slightly. Last year he's at 45%, this year 48%. The free throws, it's really bad. Last year at 42, and I guess you can say it goes up to 46, but still really bad. But the turnovers actually go down, 1.6 last year to 1.2. Obviously, he does not handle the ball a lot, but it's still worth pointing out that even when he's passed the ball, he's not turning it over frequently. And now the advanced numbers, which tell a different story, signifying a drop comparing it to last year. The PER drops from 18.6 to 16.2. The win shares per 48 dropping from 0.186 to 0.158. And the BPM at 5.3 last year dropping down to 3 this year. So the advanced numbers indicate to me, in my opinion, that last year's borderline All-NBA championship run this year drops down to a borderline, even maybe below borderline All-Star level. The only speculation I can maybe provide is that at turning 30, Wallace's effectiveness is already starting to deplete. We looked at 04 and he was great for a championship run. And then 03, which is a conference final run, which he was incredible. And we just see the drop-off now happening in 2005, despite the team having a lot of success, being one win away from a second championship. But I agree with the advanced numbers, which are saying Wallace is not on the same level as he was the previous 2 postseasons. The Pistons were rolling in 2006, winning 64 games, and Wallace bounced back, playing better than last year. But in the playoffs, their hold on the Eastern Conference would end, losing to the Heat in the conference finals in 6. In the offseason, looking for a change, Wallace signed with the Chicago Bulls. Dropping down to a high-value starter level, his dominant defensive Detroit days were behind him. The Bulls were a good team, but not a contender, losing in 6 in the semis to Wallace's former team. Little more than midway through 2008, Wallace was traded to the Cavaliers. With his minutes creeping down to role player level, the 33-year-old Wallace was moving into a different phase of his career, trying to help out the King, but in the playoffs, another loss in the semis. Injuries befell Wallace in 2009, and in the Cavs' conference finals run, he would only play 12 minutes a game. In the offseason, he would rejoin the Pistons, but it was not the same team that he had left. They won only 27 games. Not much difference in 2011, finishing with 30 wins. In 2012, he would find himself back on the bench, playing 15 minutes a game. Still no improvement for the team, and for the second time in his career, one of the greatest rim protectors of all time averaged less than a block a game. And as the curtain falls on Ben Wallace's career, we will take a look back at his prime. Encompassing 5 seasons, the 2002 season through 2006. The basic stats, 8.2 points per game, 12.8 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and 4.4 stocks. The advanced numbers, PER at 17.6, win shares per 48 at 0.17, average win shares per season 10.2, and the BPM at 3.6. In my opinion, he is comfortably at an all-star level during the entirety of his prime, which does differ with the NBA, as he made the All-NBA team every single year during this stretch. I don't quite agree he's on that level, other than the standout peak regular season of 2002. But this is still an impressive run. As I keep saying, on the defensive side in particular, 4 out of these 5 seasons, he led the league in defensive win shares. Just a dominant defensive player. Now we'll take a look at the playoff stats for Ben Wallace's prime and compare them to the regular season. Just one thing to note, I only included the 02 to 05 playoffs. Looking at the 2006 playoffs, I don't feel he's in his prime anymore. I think it ended in the 2006 regular season. So with the basic stats, it's weird looking at points per game for Ben Wallace, but they do go up 1.3, 8.2 to 9.5. The rebounds go up from 12.8 to 14. The assists virtually the same, and same with the stocks. The advanced stats, the PER pretty identical, just a slight increase, 17.6 to 17.9. Win shares per 48, another small increase, 0.17 to 0.179. And the BPM, another slight increase, 3.6 to 4.3. So just with the slight increases in the playoffs, I feel he's at a comfortable all-star level during the entirety of his prime, which includes a conference finals run, a championship run, and then another finals run on top of that. So in this era of lower scores, which the Pistons excelled at, Wallace at his best is a superstar. Not every year, but his peaks, in particular the 2002 regular season, the 2003 conference finals run, and the 2004 championship run, those three standout years, able to play at an All-NBA level because of his defensive ability and production, I think it's just an incredible testament how he was able to use his skills to succeed. If you agree or disagree, let me know down in the comments. And thank you for watching.